Okay, remember when you add, you are adding here. So because when you multiply, a lot of people already want to go and do the FOIL method because of the brackets. It is very confusing, but you have a bracket here, a bracket here, and a bracket here, and a bracket here, separated by the plus sign. So you are adding, and even the problem tells you to add. You can also remove the brackets, and then if you remove them, pretend they're not around. I'm going to go ahead and do it in white. You take them away, it might be easier for you to look at what is really happening. Okay? And so what is really happening is that you are going to pretend you don't even see, and then you're just going to combine. You don't see these brackets, and then you're just going to combine like terms. And remember, adding is a whole lot different. So when you get ready to add, you have this cubed and this cubed, and that becomes 6 because 4 plus 2. And remember, you're adding, not multiplying. And let's be honest, even I have to remind myself to go back and think, what am I doing? So you know what you're doing. Yes. 6x cubed. Now your next one is 2x, and keep in mind that this is 1x. So this 1x is going to be 2x squared plus 3x, and I did that one in purple. And it's squared. Keep in mind when I say like terms, when you're adding, you cannot combine these. So we have a nice 3x to the second power, or squared as they say. Okay, now when we move on, we just add out the other powers, and this 2x is by itself. There is no other x to the, and remember this is x to the first power, not x to the 0 power. It's x to the first power. There is no other term. So if you bring the other terms together, you get 6x plus 3x plus 2x plus 1, and that's the match. That's the answer. And I had a note here, 2x does not have a matching pair. If you have a headache, that's normal, but we're moving on. You are subtracting here. When you subtract, here's what makes subtracting unfair. This negative and this negative become a positive. This negative and this negative become a positive. So this negative gets left alone. This is negative 10a3b, and because the terms are right next to each other, you are really saying negative 10 a cubed to the b plus 9 a cubed to the b, and this is b1. But we're going to leave it as really negative 1 a cubed b. And that's what you see here. This is 6ab. Do you see this term 6ab over here? No, you don't. So you just bring it down. What about this negative 4? This is a negative plus a negative, which is a positive 6. This 6 minus 4 is positive 2. What happened here? Negative plus a negative is a positive. This is positive 6ab, and this is one of the trickiest parts of this equation. This negative 6 and this negative 6 make this a positive 6a squared to the b squared. Term is different, but that's your answer. You can either say negative 1a cubed b, or you can just say negative. You can also write this as a negative a cubed. That looks awful. I'm going to erase it. 1 second. Can also do it as a negative a cubed to the b, and these are the same. This is the same as here, plus 6ab plus 6a squared plus b squared plus 2. This is your answer. What makes these really difficult is the way that your mind has to think and really think about what's going on. Okay, and this is just the same thing with the same answer. Okay, so we are multiplying polynomials, which is one of the worst things in the world. I'm not going to even lie to some people. I went ahead and put my ones here. Negative 2 times a positive 5 is a negative 10. So that's how I got negative 10. C plus this c is c cubed. Your powers rules say that you add powers. C to the third d, d to the 1. You can leave it here or you can leave it. I'm going to leave it without putting the 1 here because I want you to get the concept here. Okay, so now we get ready to move on. And you have negative 10 c d third, but look, this is negative 2 times negative 5. What is that? Negative 2 times negative 5. Which equals a 10. This is 1c, and this is 1c. That's c cubed, 1d, and 1d, d squared. Now we get ready to go on to the next one. And guess what? Negative 2. This is the same as negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 equals a positive 2. You have 1c, 1d, and you have 2 d's here. So this is c to the 1, or c. You don't have to put the 1 here. C, d to the third, because d1 plus 2 is 3. You add powers when you multiply. You add powers when you multiply. Okay? You add powers when you multiply. This is an ugly mess. We're going to do it all together. Negative 2b times a positive 5 is negative 2 times positive 5, which equals negative 10. Let's put that equals out. A negative 10. Now, this is B1, B2, that's B3. Let's move on, and let's only do with the negative 2b right now. This is what FOIL does. Now let's take negative 2b towards this term. This is a negative 2 times negative 4, which gives you a positive 8. Now, I put it here, 8b squared. B1, B1, B2. Let's take this negative 2b, and I did this in green, times 2, which is a negative 4b. And I did this here. And so we have the first part of the equation done. Now all we have to do is go back up and get our 4. 4 times 5 is going to be what? Positive 20b. I put this here. Don't look at this line yet. This 4 times this negative b, and this is b squared. That's the only term, so it's negative 20b squared. This 4 is going to this b. There's no other term, so that is, with this here, a negative 16b, and that's right there. Okay, now, this positive 4, this positive 8 is, I meant positive 4, and this positive 2 gives you 8. So that's what this is. But if your teacher or professor tells you to simplify it, you have an 8b here, positive, and an 8b and a 20b squared here. There's 8b squared here, so you can add them and they become this number, 28b squared. This is negative 4b, this is negative 16b. When you add negative 16 plus negative 4, you get a negative 20. And there's a variable behind it, so it's b. Now you're adding like terms that are already alike, and I guess some of you are saying, well, why don't you go ahead and combine? Well, you're simplifying. Okay, this was part of the answer, but you are now simplifying the answer. Okay, and I'm not good at writing on lines, but simplify. And that's what this is. This is the simplified equation. There's only one constant. It's 8. There you are. You are done with this part. We're jacobitslearning@gmail.com if you have any questions.